Hello, good people. Hello, folks. What's up? How you all doing? I hope you're doing great. And welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is Awaken Africa, and my host Bemu. So by now, I hope each and every one of us knows this guy. This guy. His name is Captain Ibrahim Traoré, and his speech this week went viral. His speech at the AES Summit, which has gone viral so far, and it has sparked a lot of reaction on how he handled these colonial masters. So, Captain Ibrahim Traoré's summit speech exposed Africa's exploitation, called for unity against imperialism, and inspired a movement for sovereign and shared prosperity. So before I give my commentary on this, kindly let us watch the video first, and then I'll come back with a commentary. But if you're new to this channel, kindly consider subscribing. Number one. Number two, if you have already subscribed, give us a like. If you have already given us a like, turn on the notification bell. If you've already done that, number four, consider sharing this content. Let us watch the video and then I'll come back.
Année, dans leur sondage économique, le Burkina est le pays le plus pauvre, le Mali est le pays le plus pauvre, le Niger est le pays le plus pauvre. Nous sommes classés parmi les derniers. Très bien, si nous sommes aussi pauvres qu'ils le disent, mais quand est venu le moment de prendre nos responsabilités, nous avons demandé à ces maîtres de quitter les lieux. Pourquoi ne veulent-ils pas partir?
Why does the West still cling to Africa, calling it poor while refusing to let go of its resources? At the AES First Summit, Captain Ibrahim Traoré shattered illusions with a speech that revealed the truth. Africa's poverty is a myth crafted to justify exploitation. He condemned puppet leaders, exposed imperialist tactics, and called for a united Africa to reclaim its destiny. But what did he say that left the world shaken? AES Summit marked a turning point for African nations seeking to redefine their independence in the 21st century. It wasn't just a gathering of leaders, but a declaration of a new way forward. At the heart of this summit was the bold proposition by Traore that African nations must take control of their destinies, no matter the cost. This message found its strongest advocate in the example of Niger, a country that has faced sanctions, international backlash, and economic challenges, but continues to stand tall. What makes Niger's example so powerful is its refusal to compromise on its sovereignty. The country's leaders decided to prioritize the well-being of their people over the demands of external powers, even when that meant facing severe economic consequences. The sanctions imposed on Niger were designed to cripple its economy and isolate it from the global stage. Yet, instead of succumbing, Niger used this adversity as a catalyst to strengthen internal systems, foster regional alliances, and invest in local industries. This resilience has become a beacon of hope for other African nations. What makes Niger's example so powerful is its refusal to compromise on its sovereignty. The country's leaders decided to prioritize the well-being of their people over the demands of external powers, even when that meant facing severe economic consequences. The sanctions imposed on Niger were designed to cripple its economy and isolate it from the global stage. Yet instead of succumbing, Niger used this adversity as a catalyst to strengthen internal systems, foster regional alliances, and invest in local industries. This resilience has become a beacon of hope for other African nations.
Vous êtes plus que des amis, vous êtes plus que des voisins, vous êtes nos frères, vous êtes nos sœurs. Parce que la fraternité va au-delà de l'amitié ou du voisinage. Nous avons le même sang qui coule dans nos veines. Dans nos veines coule le sang de ces vaillants guerriers qui ont combattu et qui ont réservé ces terres que nous appelons Mali, Burkina et Niger. Dans nos veines coule le sang de ces vaillants guerriers qui ont aidé le monde entier à se débarrasser du nazisme et de beaucoup d'autres fléaux. Dans nos veines coule le sang de ces vaillants guerriers qui ont été déportés d'Afrique vers l'Europe, l'Amérique, l'Asie ou je ne sais encore, et qui ont contribué à construire ces États pendant l'esclavage. Dans nos veines coule le sang d'hommes dignes, d'hommes robustes, d'hommes debout. Et pour cela, soyons-en fiers et soyez remerciés d'être ressortissants de l'AES.
The call to follow Niger's example is not merely a political statement, it's a blueprint for sustainable development. It involves building infrastructure that supports local production, creating industries that process raw materials within the continent, and fostering trade relationships that benefit African economies rather than exploit them. The AES Summit highlighted the need for collective action, showing that when nations like Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso unite, they can resist external pressures and forge a path toward real freedom. And just like that, one of the most profound themes to emerge from the summit is that Africans are not just neighbors but family. This concept challenges the artificial divisions created by colonial borders, which were designed to fragment the continent and weaken its unity. As highlighted during the discussions, Africans share a deep bond that transcends geography, one rooted in a shared history, culture, and identity. Throughout history, Africans have fought side by side against common enemies, from colonial powers to oppressive regimes. These struggles have forged a bond that goes beyond diplomacy or trade. It's a connection that lives in the very essence of the people. This shared blood is not just a metaphor, it represents the sacrifices made by generations of Africans who resisted oppression and fought for the survival of their communities. Today, this bond is more important than ever. External powers have long exploited divisions within Africa, using them to control the continent's resources and people. By pitting nations, ethnic groups, and regions against each other, they have maintained a system of dependency and exploitation. Recognizing this shared blood and destiny is the first step toward dismantling these tactics. The summit stressed that African unity is not just an ideal, it's a necessity. When one African nation is under attack, whether through sanctions, exploitation, or external interference, it affects the entire continent. This is why the alliance among Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso is so significant. It's a demonstration of what can happen when African nations stand together, support each other, and fight for a common cause.
Permettez-moi également de rendre hommage au peuple nigérien. Ce peuple qui a tant souffert depuis l'avènement du CNSP et qui continue de rester debout. Merci aux Nigériens qui nous ont réservé un accueil chaleureux hier lorsque nous avons foulé le sol de notre patrie ici.
This sense of unity naturally leads to a critical examination of why Africa continues to face these challenges. The answer lies in the enduring legacy of slavery and imperialism, perpetuated by modern-day puppet leaders. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. Africa's history is deeply marked by the scars of slavery and colonial exploitation. For centuries, the continent's people and resources were extracted to fuel the wealth of other nations. While slavery and colonialism may have officially ended, their mechanisms of control have evolved, often disguised as aid, partnerships, or globalization. At the heart of this continued exploitation are puppet leaders, individuals who prioritize foreign interests over the well-being of their nations. These leaders act as intermediaries for external powers, facilitating the extraction of Africa's wealth while ensuring the continent remains dependent. They maintain systems that favor exporting raw materials at low prices, only to import finished goods at exorbitant costs. This cycle not only impoverishes nations, but also stifles their ability to develop self-sufficient economies. What makes this particularly insidious is that these leaders often present themselves as champions of democracy and development. In reality, their actions serve to enrich a small elite while leaving the majority of their population in poverty. They implement policies that benefit foreign corporations, allow the unchecked extraction of resources, and amass personal wealth in offshore accounts, all while their nations struggle with inadequate infrastructure, education, and healthcare.
L'Afrique, ce continent qui a tant souffert et qui continue de souffrir du fait des impérialistes, Ces impérialistes n'ont qu'un seul cliché en tête. L'Afrique est l'empire des esclaves. C'est comme ça qu'ils voient l'Afrique. Pour eux, les Africains les appartiennent. Nos terres les appartiennent. Nos sous-sols les appartiennent. Ils n'ont jamais pu changer de logiciel jusqu'à aujourd'hui. C'est déplorable. Mais comment procèdent-ils? C'est malheureusement depuis donc ces années 60 où ces simulacres d'indépendance ont été donnés à l'Afrique. Ils n'ont juste fait que placer des valets locaux à la tête, selon eux, de leur sous-préfecture pour pouvoir continuer à les alimenter. Ces valets locaux que nous allons qualifier aujourd'hui d'esclaves de salon n'ont d'autre repère que de chercher à vivre comme le maître, à satisfaire le maître et à faire tout ce que le maître lui dicte. Ils volent, ils pillent nos États, amènent tout chez le maître et leur richesse est conservée chez le maître. Ils font tout pour vivre comme le maître et toujours le satisfaire. Lorsque le maître commande, ils exécutent. Savez-vous qui sont ces esclaves de salon? Eh bien, nous allons vous expliquer ce que c'est. Ce sont des individus qui n'ont aucune dignité, qui n'ont aucune morale, qui n'ont aucune personnalité. Mais le maître esclave a toujours su identifier ces individus. Ils sont toujours prêts à trahir leurs frères pour satisfaire le maître. Ils nous ont trahis depuis l'indépendance et d'autres continuent jusqu'à aujourd'hui à nous trahir au profit de leur maître. Ces individus continuent toujours, contre vents et marées, à piller l'Afrique, à aider le maître à piller l'Afrique. Ils se plaisent à le dire chaque année.
The summit called for a complete rejection of this system. It emphasized the importance of leadership that is accountable to the people, not to foreign powers. Nations like Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso have shown that it's possible to break free from this cycle by prioritizing sovereignty, resource control, and regional cooperation. Their example serves as a call to action for the rest of the continent.
Mais lorsque nous avons décidé ainsi, eh bien, nous avons été approchés par certains esclaves de salon pour nous passer le message de leur maître. Parce qu'ils avaient créé cette sorte de chaîne polymère qui se relève à la tête de nos États pour les servir. Et nous sommes venus briser la chaîne. Et c'est inconcevable pour eux. Ils nous ont donc approchés et ils nous ont demandé de rentrer dans les rangs pour faire partir de l'élite qui doit diriger l'Afrique. Parce qu'ils ont une élite formée et formatée qui doivent suivre, qui sont incrustés dans cette chaîne-là. Nous avons refusé de rentrer dans leur rang. Et dès lors, les hostilités ont commencé. Et ils ont fait fourvoyer dans nos zones plusieurs mercenaires, des formateurs. Les agents sont descendus dans le Sahel pour espérer mener des attaques barbares, lâches contre nos populations, espérer les révolter. En plus de ces attaques sur le terrain, les attaques communicationnelles, la manipulation, la désinformation battent son plein dans leur rang. Mais les peuples du Sahel ont compris et plus jamais on ne pourra les manipuler. Ils savent d'où ils viennent, ils savent ce qu'ils font et ils savent où ils partent.
This naturally leads to the question, why is the West so determined to maintain control over Africa? The answer lies in the narrative of poverty and exploitation. Western powers often label Africa as poor, but this narrative is far from the truth. The continent is one of the richest in the world in terms of natural resources, holding vast reserves of gold, diamonds, uranium, and other minerals essential to global industries. Yet, the perception of Africa as impoverished persists, and it serves a very specific purpose: to justify exploitation. By branding Africa as poor and dependent, the West positions itself as a benefactor, stepping in with aid, loans, and development programs that create dependency rather than empowerment. This strategy allows foreign powers to maintain control over Africa's resources, markets, and governments. It's a system designed to extract wealth while leaving the continent in a perpetual state of need. Captain Traore highlighted glaring examples of this exploitation. Niger's uranium lights up European cities while many Nigerians live without electricity. Gold from Burkina Faso and Mali enriches foreign vaults, yet the communities near the mines often lack basic infrastructure. These examples expose the hypocrisy of the narrative that Africa is poor. The truth is that Africa's resources fuel global wealth, but the benefits rarely reach the people who live on the continent.
Dans leur sondage économique, le Burkina est le pays le plus pauvre, le Mali est le pays le plus pauvre, le Niger est le pays le plus pauvre. Nous sommes classés parmi les derniers. Très bien, si nous sommes aussi pauvres qu'ils le disent, mais quand est venu le moment de prendre nos responsabilités, nous avons demandé à ces maîtres de quitter les lieux. Pourquoi ne veulent-ils pas partir? Lorsque nous prenons le cas du Niger, depuis plus de 40 ans, certains pays exploitent l'uranium pour produire de l'énergie chez eux. D'Ottawa jusqu'à Paris, les rues sont illuminées, c'est la lumière. Mais au Niger, c'est l'obscurité qui nous est servie. Lorsque vous partez dans nos États, nos sols sont troués de toutes parts pour rechercher les métaux précieux tels que l'or. Mais souvent, il n'y a même pas la moindre route accessible pour atteindre les zones où ils exploitent l'or, encore moins certains services sociaux de base. Voilà pourquoi nous avons décidé de nous révolter et de prendre le destin de nos pays en main. Il y a bien d'autres exemples.
The system of control is why the West resists any attempts by African nations to assert their independence. Sanctions, political interference, and economic blockades are all tools used to punish countries that challenge the status quo. But the alliance among Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso is a direct challenge to this system, showing that Africa can resist and thrive. So, the AES Summit wasn't just a meeting, it was a movement. It marked the beginning of a new era where African nations took control of their resources, their economies, and their destinies. The alliance among Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso is a shining example of what can be achieved when African nations stand together, united by a shared vision and a shared purpose. The path forward involves investing in local industries, fostering regional trade, and building infrastructure that benefits the people rather than foreign corporations. It means rejecting narratives of poverty and dependency and embracing the truth. Africa is a continent of immense wealth, strength, and potential.
Nous n'allons plus permettre cela. Les gens sont éveillés et les gens se battent aujourd'hui, pas pour nous-mêmes, mais pour les générations à venir. Et merci à tous pour le combat qui est livré. Cela ne nous fait jamais pleurer. Nous n'allons pas trembler. Nous allons affronter. Nous allons nous battre pour l'indépendance réelle, pour notre liberté. Parce que pour faire peur au peuple de l'AES, ces individus n'ont que 3 termes dans la bouche: démocratie, liberté, droits de l'homme. Bien sûr, leurs valets locaux ne sont élus que dans un processus démocratique, libre et transparent selon eux leurs valeurs. Quoi de plus normal qu'on veuille nous imposer cela, parce que c'est eux qui édictent les règles. Très bien, nous avons décidé de nous assumer. Voilà pourquoi un 26 juillet 2023, lorsque le Niger a décidé de tourner la page, les esclaves de salon et leurs maîtres sont montés sur les grands chevaux. Ils ont mis leurs valets locaux en avant et ont décidé de mener une guerre contre le peuple nigérien. Nous avons donc dit, quiconque osera s'en prendre au Niger nous aura en face, parce que nous mènerons une guerre sans merci jusqu'à la dernière goutte de sang pour quiconque osera s'attaquer à nos États. Cette parole, cette décision que nous avons eue hier est d'actualité aujourd'hui et sera d'actualité demain et pour toujours.
It's a fight for dignity, identity, and a future where Africa.
Hello, good people. Welcome back to the channel. So I hope all of us have listened to that speech by Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso. So the main theme he's talking about in that speech is the African unity. African unity, whereby these all of these African countries can come together, have a sense of unity, and enjoy their sovereignty. Because whatever I've understood from that speech and whatever I believe in is, we might have been given independence, but we are not yet free. Some of these external powers continue to exploit us. They keep on controlling us. They keep on exploiting our resources. They don't respect our sovereignty, yet they keep on calling us poor as African countries. Take, for instance, the situation in Congo. They'll say that the people in Congo are so poor, but the value of the minerals found in Congo stand at 22 trillion US dollars. But when you walk in the streets of Congo, in the villages, there is utmost poverty, and it gives the pride of these former colonial masters who keep on being so much interested in our affairs, calling us poor. They keep on telling us that they're giving us donor funds, they're giving us grants, and they're giving us loans. They're giving us grants so that we can develop our countries. Yet they are the ones who are at the forefront exploiting us, and then at the end of the day they call us poor. They take our leaders and use them as their puppets. Our leaders keep on exploiting us. But Captain Ibrahim Traoré, just like as what Kwame Nkrumah said, that imperialism is the worst form of neocolonialism is the worst form of imperialism. So Captain Ibrahim Traoré is calling for unity, even if these Western countries are going to impose sanctions on us, but let us have unity and put an end to this imperialism. Countries like Niger, they are facing sanctions, but their leader is so resilient. He has his people's interests at heart, so he's working for his people rather than working for these Western colonial masters. And Africa needs to reclaim its resources and sovereignty, and to challenge the Western narratives of poverty and exploitation. The same people are calling us poor, and the same people who keep on exploiting us. Who doesn't know that the Western industries, most of these Western industries, they depend on our resources so that they can run. And Traoré advocates for African nations to assert control over their destinies, and to be resilient, just like Niger. As I've said earlier, Niger faces some sanctions from these European powers, and we need to address the exploitation of division within Africa by external powers, and the necessity of us Africans to unite and combat these tactics. And it doesn't sit well with me whereby we have an Africa-Italy summit, whereby you see all the 54 heads of states from Africa. They are bundled together in a certain room in Italy to discuss the prosperity of Africa. A single country in Europe to discuss the prosperity of Africa. Why don't we call a single country from Europe to come here in Africa and learn from us? Why do they keep on exploiting us? And his speech addresses the ongoing challenges faced by Africa, highlighting the historical legacy of slavery, imperialism, and the role of contemporary leaders in perpetuating these issues. As I've said earlier, some of our leaders are puppets. they are being used by the West to exploit us, And the discussion on the historical impact of slavery and colonialism on Africa, on African resources and its people, which has been so advanced. Since the days of slavery, Africa has been exploited. We've been exploited economically, politically, by these Western powers. They came here, they destroyed our civilization. They told us that we were backward and barbaric. But Captain Ibrahim Traoré's speech, of course, emphasized the need for African nations to prioritize sovereignty and accountable leadership, and to challenge the narrative of poverty perpetuated by some of these Western powers. And this speech has gone so viral. It has sparked a lot of reactions, and I really liked whatever he said, as since he's calling for all of the African nations to reject these external controls, stressing on the importance of leadership that is accountable to its own people rather than serving these colonial masters. Nations like Mali and Burkina Faso they exemplify the possibility of breaking free from exploitative cycles by focusing on sovereignty and resource control. If we as Africans we decide to follow our sovereignty and we focus on controlling what's ours, then I don't think if we're going to experience some of this exploitation from these colonial masters. I don't know what's your take according to what Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the president of Burkina Faso, said, but I'd like us to have a conversation in the comments. And most definitely, if you're new to this channel, I'll ask you to subscribe. If you've already subscribed, that is, you are a returning subscriber, give us a thumbs up, turn on the notifications, like, and don't forget to leave a comment. Thank you. This is Awakened Africa. I am Bemu. Peace out.